backed by popular demand, contesting versus rag chewing instead of N1MM. The N1MM computer program needed a computer and it needed a transceiver hooked up, and the two of them needed to talk together in order for it to work properly. I was not able to get it done in the time that I had to fiddle around with it. So we won't be looking at the N1MM screen, which is not too difficult to look at, especially when it's once tuned in. And Ray is in charge of all of that, getting the computer and the, sorry Ray, computer and N1MM talking to each other. So what we're going to look at tonight, and actually this class is for newbies, and if you're not a newbie, you might know everything that's on here. But if you are, oh, here comes some newbies, hooray! Trail boss comes in.
We're going to stay away today, just for
All right, great. Well, grab a seat. We're going to be talking about contesting versus rag chewing, and the field day is in essence contesting. So this will be a little bit different. You'll see the contrast between just sitting down behind a microphone and entertaining yourself and actually going down and trying to get some points. When you're doing rag chewing, you have plenty of time. You're just sitting there jawing with somebody else, a friend or somebody that you just met. There's no set agenda. You're not trying to accomplish anything. You're just trying to talk to somebody and be friends with them. And if you were going to have a drink sitting on the counter, that drink would be a mint julep. So you can kind of picture this in your mind, just sitting back and having a good time. Contesting is a little bit different. Contesting, time is critical. And so you're trying to do as much as you can in a short period of time. There is very definitely a specified protocol, and it is going to be very different from what you do when you're doing the rag chewing. Your favorite drink when you're contesting is black coffee, because you just glue yourself in the seat and you start trying to get as many points as you can. So we're going to look at a rag chewing, a typical first exchange of a rag chewing QSO. Keep in mind now what you're looking at there is only one half of the conversation. This is from one person to the person that's receiving it. We don't hear, and you won't see displayed on the screen, the other half of it, which has equally the same size, equally the same number of words on there. So we find here that K4HTA, which is our club station, is being called by K6BFA, and he's there in his rag chewing mode. Thanks for the call. My name is Pete. QTH is Vienna. You're 599, and how do you copy? A little sip on the mint julep. K4HTA. This is K6BFA, and the final K means over. So then it goes back over to K4HTA, and he comes back and he says his name is so and so, and he goes down through the same part of it, the same information that you see there. And then he ends up with a K. The reason I mention the K is because it'll become important here in just a minute. Here we have a contest contact, comparing it now to the rag chew that you just saw. K4HTA has been calling CQ, and now K6BFA, along with maybe 20 other guys, are calling back, trying to get K4HTA to recognize it. K4HTA hears K6BFA. He sorts that out of all these 20 calls, and so he calls that call sign back. He doesn't say K6BFA, this is K4HTA, over. He just says K6BFA, and without hesitation, he says, I am, this is for field day now, I am 4A, and I'm in Virginia. That's all that he says. So you can see it looks like about, what, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 characters, and that's half of the conversation. K4HTA then copies what K6BFA is sending, which would be, let's say in this case, a 1A Virginia. And then as soon as he gets that back, there's no more, the only confirmation that it has been a completed QSO is either a TU for thank you, or QRZ means I'm ready for the next station. So here we have K4HTA is now just gives one call sign of the person that he picked out of this cacophony of sounds, and he gives his status 4A and Virginia immediately. Then he copies what K6BFA says, and then he says thank you. And at that point, the cacophony of call signs out there are once again inundating K4HTA because they want to try to make the next contact. So you see that there is no K there, there is no QSL for confirming. There's nothing there except the sequence, and you know what that sequence is. And if you're trying to make the contact, as soon as you hear that TU, you want to get right in there and get your call sign in as soon as it comes back through. So you hear the TU, jump right in with your call sign, and everybody else is in there. Let K4HTA sort it out, and then give the call.
Okay.
Yes?
Wouldn't the other station give their status like 3A Maryland?
Nope, because they would be talking to nobody. Because K4HTA is not listening to them. K4HTA is right on the frequency, and he is pulling out, he is sorting out of all this noise K6BFA. Here's K6BFA. So then he comes back and he says, K6BFA, I hear you, the rest of you guys stand down. Then he gives the 4A and the VA, and then K6BFA gives his report back. Then K4HTA says thank you, or he can say QRZ, or he can say QSL. Any one of those three means I've confirmed this conversation, and then as soon as that goes out over the air, the other stations then are once again trying to get K4HTA to hear. Yes, Jim?
What does he send if he does not get the complete visit?
AGN again. He would, so if he didn't get it back, then he would just send AGN, or he could say state ST question mark, or he could say class CL question mark. But AGN, that just confirmed, I mean, it just gets, he gets the whole thing back again. Yes?
For those of us that are not CW guys, status 4A means what?
Okay, 4A means 4 transmitters. This is only for field day. So for field day, the 4 means we have 4 transmitters operating at one time out on the field day site. The A means that we are on portable power. We're not connected to any of the city services. If we were a B, you might mean that you would be in your house plugged into the house circuit. I don't remember what the other ones are, but there's about 5 different classes on there, and you can be an A, B, C, D, or E, something like that. And Teresa might be able to answer that question when we get into the other part of the class. I'm sure she has the book with it there. Yes, Don?
Is this code or is it voice?
It can be both. And the only difference is, one you're, and the other one is you're talking. So K4HTA would be calling CQ. This would be on single sideband now on voice. You say CQ, this is K4HTA contest, or whatever he wants to use to say over. Then everybody is calling back. K6BFA and PH is calling back, and CNN is calling back. K4HTA is trying to sort out a single call sign out of that whole mess. As soon as he gets the single call sign, as we have on the demo here, he would then call back K6BFA, and then everybody else who's not K6BFA stands down and listens, takes another sip of coffee, and then they listen to the exchange. And if the other stations are smart, they're going to write that exchange down in their logbook so they have it. and then he'll go back through, he'll copy K6BFA's information, then he'll come back and he'll say, thank you, or QSL, or Q, and he would verbalize these words now. Or he'd say QRZ, and then whoof, all these calls would come back in again. So the only difference is one's in code and one's in voice, and it is just this abbreviated.
Okay. And if he's not going to accept any more, what would he say then?
Bye.
CQ field day, K4HTA. You answer back.
Oh, K6BFA.
K6BFA only. K6BFA only. My gosh, what do I say? K4HTA Vienna, 4A Vienna.
Okay, and then he doesn't say over, he doesn't say anything else. He just lifts his thumb off the mic, and I'd say 1 Alpha Virginia, because it would be the state. Well, I'd say 1 Alpha Virginia, and I wouldn't say over, because he's ready to go. What do you say?
Thank you, K6BFA. QRZ.
You wouldn't even give the call sign again.
No.
You just thank you or QRZ.
Oh, but I'm nice.
I know you are. You're a sweetheart. So the idea is it's fast and furious, and it's just one thing that happens right after another after another. Now, how would you call it? So now we're sitting down, we've just fired up the generator, the tubes are glowing, the little tent's getting warm. You grab the mic and you call CQ. And the word is actually, for CW, you would actually send the word test. And pretty soon, that just becomes, it's as familiar as the CQ. Dot it, did it, dot. That means it's short for contest. So you're saying, I'm not calling to just rag chew with anybody. I'm calling because we're in a contest here. And if you want to be in that contest, answer my call. If you don't, and you want to rag chew, you need to go someplace else. So now, if you look at that, you see that it's saying K4HTA, K4HTA, K. We all know that K means over. Now, if you look at the next line down, it says AR. AR is another pro sign, and that means end of message. Now, if you can picture this, just close your eyes and listen. I'm going to send this really slow, but I'm going to send K4HTA twice. No, I'm not going to tell you how many times I'm going to send. I'm going to send K4HTA a number of times, and then I'm going to say over by using the letter K. Now, when you hear that next K, is he going to continue sending his call sign? You don't know. He might send it 2 times, he might send it 3 times. If you end it with a K, the people that are trying to copy that don't know whether or not there's going to be the rest of that call sign tagging on there. So they're going to hesitate a moment. If you hesitate a moment, you're going to be lost. So what you can do is, if your call sign starts with a K, you can send the AR. So you would send I'll just send the last call sign with the AR. Now you know he's finished and he's listening, and there's no ambiguity. So either one of that, either the K or the AR, can be used as an over. QRZ. QRZ means who is calling me. So if you're finished with a communication, you can go in and send QRZ. Instead of sending CQ test, you can just send QRZ from K4HTA, and then people will hear that. They will know that you're ready to copy whatever call sign that you send. Or if it's really crowded and there's a whole lot of stuff going on, you don't even need your call sign, because you know there's 5 or 6 guys listening to you anyway. You can just send QRZ, and then the calls will start coming back in again. Any questions? I know that's kind of, it might be kind of confusing to try to put this all in your head, but if you remember when you go to field day, some of this, maybe it will start making sense. Okay, contest, let's see here. Why is that different than the other one? I don't know why that's different. I guess it's the over there with the TU at the bottom or the QRZ. You need to confirm both ways on the contact. If I call John, for instance, and I call John, John gives me his information, so I know that John and I are talking, and I give the information back to John. I need to know that John got that piece of information, because there may have been a lightning bolt, there may have been QRM, QRN on there. He may not have gotten it, then it's not a legitimate contact. So you need to send a piece of information to John. John's confirmation is his information back to me. My confirmation that I got John's information is a TU, thank you, or it's a QRZ, or it's a QSL. Those all mean I received the information that you just sent. Yeah.
So, I'm still kind of new at this.
That's fine.
Other contests I've worked, they're always on sideband. They always want to hear a signal report, of course, everybody's always 5-9.
Right.
I'm wondering, is there an RST report on CW?
Yes, there is, but for every contest there is a different exchange. And the contest you're talking about, probably an RS report would be appropriate. On this one, the exchange is your class and the 4 alpha, for instance, the 4 transmitters in your class, and the state. And that's it.
Section.
I'm sorry, the section, yes, thank you. Because it's not the state. New York has 2 of them, California has a couple. Virginia has just one. For the one section is the entire Virginia. But he's right, that it is the section. And yes. Yeah.
So, there's also no serial number like there are.
No, some contests have a serial number. This does not. This is just mayhem, as fast as you can get out there to do it. And it's good that you're asking those questions, because a lot of us are going to be working sideband, and a lot are going to be working the CW. So the procedure is the same, the exchange is the same. It's just the medium that you get the information back and forth. So the important thing is to make sure that you close it out and that you get that confirmation, whether it be a thank you or thanks, have a good contest. There are some people in our club that would be offended by having something as long as that exchange. They'd say thanks and then move on. Now, oh yeah, I think one of the things with this that I wanted to talk about here, and that is, let's see, let me see what the next one is. Didn't we already do this?
Yeah.
Why, are we going backwards? Oh, maybe I hit the wrong side of this. Okay. I think we did that one.
Oh, there it is.
Okay,
That looks new.
yeah. There are 2 ways to compete. One way is called running, and one way is called S&P, S&P, or search and pounce. Running means that you have the frequency. You are sitting there on this frequency, and people are lining up to talk with you. So the only thing you can do is just make contact after contact. You don't have to move. The only thing you have to do is say thank you, and their call signs are coming in, and you do the exchanges, and you say thank you, and here comes more, and then you say QRZ, and here comes more. That's running. You don't really own the frequency, but you're sitting right there, and nobody else can take it away from you, usually. Now, one of the things that you have to do is you have to keep that frequency active. So if nobody calls you back, and you say QRZ, and you don't hear anybody lining up, then you go CQ test, this is K4HTA, over. And Of course, this is for the CW that you see the AR there, but that would be the same as over. You go right back, and if you don't hear anybody, you call them again. You got to keep your frequency active, because then there'll be K6BFA is going to move in on that frequency if it's quiet for about 10 or 15 seconds, because he knows there's things going on there. So keep it active, keep calling CQ. That's called running. Now, when you finish running, K4HTA, it says in the little print there that K4HTA is holding the frequency. When he finishes with his contact, he's going to say QRZ, and you see the little type there, it says that's an assumed CQ. In other words, he's ready to talk to somebody else. Or a thank you is an assumed CQ. QSL, confirming contact. That's all assumed CQ, consumed that you're asking somebody to come out. Or, if nobody is there, run across that bottom line there, either verbally or with your key. And then, if you don't hear anybody, go again and go again until you have somebody pop up there. This is search and pounce. If you look in the upper left-hand corner there, you'll see that W3ABC is calling CQ. So now, you are sitting there with the radio, not on any particular frequency, and you just hear a lot of noise, and you're dialing down real slow. All of a sudden, you hear CQ W3ABC over. The only thing that you do, you're right on top of his frequency. The only thing you do is you send your call sign. K4HTA. That's it. No over, no W3ABC, this is K4HTA in Virginia. Nothing. Just your call sign. Then out of this cacophony of call signs, W3ABC fortunately picks you out. And then when he does that, he is going to give you, as we looked at one of the earlier ones, let's see if we got it coming up here. Yes, he will give you your call sign to say that out of all these people, he wants to talk to you. And then he gives his the number of transmitters and his section, and number of transmitters and his class, whether he's battery powered or whether he's on generators or whatever it is, and his section. That's all. So you can see that he is now calling you, and this is who I am and where I am. And then the thing that you do is you go right back as K4HTA, you go back and send your information. 4 Alpha Virginia. That's it. Then he comes, now, you got his information, but you don't know that he got your information yet. So he says, thank you, or he says QSL, or he says QRZ. You now know that he received it, and you better get that dial spinning really fast, because you're going to have to go down and find that next station, because people are not looking for you, you're looking for them. So as soon as you hear the TU, or I don't see John is here, is he? John Shell. He is a guy to watch, because as soon as the first half of that T comes through, the T is just a dash. As soon as the first half of that T confirming is in, he's got that dial spinning, and he's moving down looking for the next station. This guy's talking to the ether. So you have to, when you're doing search and pounce, you want to keep your needle moving. When you're doing running, you want to keep your mouth moving, or you want to keep the key moving, because you want to hold that frequency.
You want to mention partial call signs, and they'll come back, maybe they'll only hear part of the call sign, and then they'll...
Well, they would say call again, and then you would, or they might say again, AGN call, CALL space AGN. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, I'm talking about if they hear part of it, like if, you know, if I say RS and they say 4RS.
Okay, right. Then they would ask for W3 only, or K4 only, or they might say HTA only, or TA, whatever they copied. They didn't get the whole call sign, but he's in there, and there's a whole lot of noise. Then they would come back and say TA only, K6BFA. So they would give his call sign back. or TA only, and then whoever has a call sign TA, that might short everybody out, but it might be maybe 2 of them out there, so then he could sort out the 2. But thank you, that's a good question that I did not include in here. So, yes, they would just come back and give whatever he could hear, and then ask you to fill in the blank spaces.
So fun things happen because I've had a situation where he heard the last 2 letters of my call sign and came back and said, Charlie Mike, again, and there's not 1, but 2, or maybe even 3 Charlie Mikes.
Yeah.
And so now there's another call.
But there's only 3 and not 30.
Right.
So then he can say 3 Charlie Mike, because maybe he just picked up the 3 out of there, and then that would probably drop everybody else out. Hopefully it would. But they could slowly go down and sort things out. So, are there any questions? Any more questions? Very good. We're going to have a fun time at Field Day, especially for you folks that haven't been out there before, or those that like the contest, because it's really very fast-paced, and you can do this for 24 hours. And it's really I was just talking about, there's John. John, stand up so everybody can see you. This is a guy with a speedy finger on the dial when he hears confirmation on a contact, on search and pounce. Yeah. Just as soon as that T starts to come through, he's spinning off the dial. Okay, thank you very much, and we'll go over to the other room.